Fantastic. Good afternoon and welcome to Troop G headquarters. Before I begin this media event, I would like to do some introductions. To my immediate left, Montgomery County Sheriff Jeff Smith. To his left is Montgomery County Under Sheriff Carl Rust. To my right, Lieutenant Joe Huber, who is the acting zone commander in Zone 3, part of which encompasses Montgomery County. And to his right is Lieutenant Chris Gilroy, New York State Police BCI. I am Richard O'Brien. I am the Troop G BCI captain. At approximately 5:43 this morning, Montgomery County Dispatch received a 911 call from a male who reported he just shot his father at his residence on State Route 334 in the town of Mohawk, located in Montgomery County. State Police and Montgomery County Sheriff's deputies responded to the scene and located 56-year-old Dallas Eller, Jr., suffering from a single gunshot wound to the chest. Members of the Greater Amsterdam Volunteer Ambulance Corps attempted to revive Mr. Eller, but unfortunately were unsuccessful in their attempts. He was declared deceased at the scene. Preliminary investigation has determined that Dallas Eller was shot by his 20-year-old son, Alexander, who entered Mr. Eller's home and fired one round into his chest, killing him. Alexander Eller has been in police custody since the incident, charged with a Class B felony of manslaughter first degree. He was recently arraigned in the town of Glen Court, Montgomery County, remanded to the Montgomery County Jail in lieu of $25,000 cash bail, $50,000 bond. And I would like to thank and acknowledge the Montgomery County Sheriff's Department, their deputies who arrived on scene, and also the 911 dispatcher who successfully talked to our suspect, Mr. Eller, and allowed him to surrender without incident, keeping our members safe, the deputies safe, and Mr. Eller safe. I will take a limited number of questions.
No, he did not live at the house?
He lived on the property, but not in the house. He had a separate location on the property.
Was it the other home kind of right nearby?
It's actually a camper that's behind it.
A camper.
Correct.
Was anybody else in the home at the time? Okay.
Just the father and son.
Any motive yet?
Not yet.
Can you talk about the circumstances? Were they arguing? Were they in a physical confrontation?
We do not believe, we believe there was a verbal exchange, but not a physical confrontation.
On the property, there's a lot of children's toys, swings and things. Were there any children who reside there, or?
There were no children or any other adults home at the time, just the father and son.
How long between the time that he arrived at the home and the time of the shooting, how long was that?
That is still part of our investigation, which we are only 9 hours into.
Does the son have any kind of mental disability?
We're not commenting about anything regarding the son or his abilities, faculties, etc. Not at this time.
Can you go into a little bit more detail about what the dispatcher did to try to help solve this issue or resolve the issue for the responding officers?
The dispatcher did a great job in obtaining the information that we needed to successfully have this individual surrender, including having this individual showing his hands and exiting the residence, both of which helped our troopers and deputies respond, safely have him surrender, and it was without incident. Just did a great job.
Could you tell us, could you kind of give us as much as you can, a play-by-play of that when the troopers and the deputies arrived on the scene and what that was like when the suspect then came out and surrendered to you? Can you kind of give us that?
Well, anytime we're going to a scene where shots are fired, I can tell you that it makes our senses extremely heightened in terms of having everything come to an end peacefully and without incident. And the dispatcher talking this individual into coming outside, showing us his hands, which did not display a weapon, and he complied with the verbal commands that our troopers and deputies gave him, allowed this to be successfully concluded without anyone else being injured or hurt.
Did that happen, like, as soon as the troopers and deputies arrived, or was it a time after that?
I would characterize that as upon arrival.
What kind of weapon, and did the suspect own the weapon legally?
I can tell you that it was a rifle. I can't comment on the ownership of that rifle.
Had the state police or the Montgomery County Sheriff's officers responded to that home previously to any other incidents?
I can tell you that we have. I cannot tell you the incidents. I can tell you they were not recent. This is not a home that either of our agencies visit on a regular basis. I would not characterize this family as being known to law enforcement.
So were they domestic-related calls?
I can't comment on that.
Any alcohol involvement?
I can't comment on that either.
And was the suspect cooperating with investigators, answering questions and that sort
Yes,
of thing?
yes, that's correct.
How long after the shooting did he call 911?
I would characterize it as immediately based on what we know.
Is he claiming self-defense or any?
I can't comment on anything that we obtained
Last
during
question.
our interviews.
Was the deceased conscious at the time when you guys got there?
Still alive. That's all I can say about the deceased at this point.
So there's no one else involved, you consider this case now closed?
Still under investigation. The subject in custody is the only individual that we anticipate charging in this case.
Was he a resident of that address, or did he live elsewhere and then come?
Lived elsewhere on the property. I would characterize it as the same address, just not in the same dwelling.
Everybody else out?
I know you can't tell me who the dispatcher was. Could you tell me if the dispatcher was a male or a female?
Sheriff?
The dispatcher was a male.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.